So we're back again, and the next area that we're talking about is hydration. Hydration is really very important. Numerous studies have shown that hydration is a major key in regards to intracellular health and aging. It's very interesting because there's been numerous machines which have been able to measure both intracellular and extracellular fluid and where they are on a ratio basis. The ratio that is a most optimal ratio of having fluid inside your cell and fluid having outside your cell, which many times is called interstitial fluid, is a 60% or higher inside the cell and a 40% or lower outside the cell. Hydration is a big issue when it comes to numerous different types of tissues. They always talk about trying to be able to hydrate your skin. That is a big area, and we want to be able to make sure that your skin cells do hold a certain amount of fluid on them. Otherwise, you tend to be able to have more wrinkles, and things tend to be able to break down at a cellular level when it comes to that. The next thing we want to be able to take a look at is, as I lost my section here, how your body actually uses water. Well, your body really takes and will form something called edema when you're under higher states of toxicity or you're showing allergic responses. Optimally, with a healthy body, you should have a lot of water inside your cell, and your cells should look like grapes, nice and full. But when the cells start to get smaller and they start looking more like raisins, because remember, raisins are dehydrated grapes, then all of a sudden, where does the water go to? It usually goes to outside the cell. And why would the water go to outside the cell? Well, Dr. Jeffrey Bland came up with a statement which was very insightful, which is your body thinks that the solution to pollution is dilution. So what does that mean? Well, let's take a look at the situation. You're in Sedona, Arizona, at the outskirts these days because it's becoming commercialized, but let's say Sedona, Arizona. The air is beautiful. You're eating nothing but an organic diet. You've got no major stressors in your life. You're retired, okay? And all of a sudden, you take a look at the water inside your cells, and it looks like Poland Springs water. You take a look at the water outside your cells in that interstitial fluid, it looks like Poland Springs water, and everything's beautiful. Let's say you decide to go out of retirement and head to New York City. So you go to New York City, it's more polluted there. You start eating a little more rotten foods, okay? And the water inside your cells looks like Poland Springs water, but the water outside your cells is starting to resemble light or weak iced tea due to the toxins. Then all of a sudden you decide, you know something, I want to start a new career. I want to go into photography. So you go into the photographic labs and you smell all of that, all those toxic byproducts which are used in making and developing photographs. So the water inside your cell still looks like Poland Springs water, but the water outside your cell is starting to look like thin syrup. Okay? Oh, this buildup of toxicity outside your cell is starting to endanger the life of the metabolically active tissue we call cells and endanger the cell itself. So all of a sudden, your body says the solution to this impending pollution to my cells that's right now outside my cells, the solution to this pollution is to dilute it. So where does it get the actual water from? It gets the water from inside those cells, and it takes it and puts it to outside those cells. There's two different things that are major problems here. The first one is you end up looking like you're an old person, okay, because you end up having edema. When's the last time you saw a beautiful, young, sexy model with edema, fat ankles and fat wrists? It doesn't work. The last time I saw a woman like that, or a man like that, is they had themselves a problem which is closely related to aging. So we want to make sure that you don't have extra water on you. The second thing that happens, which is a problem, is when you build up the water to a great degree outside your cells, many times the water that you take in doesn't go into your cells, it goes outside your cells. You hold it with inside that area itself, and there's a big problem with that. You end up forming pressure upon your blood vessels, and you increase the chance of high blood pressure. So another problem of aging is high blood pressure. And this is all related to hydration. Not getting enough water, but making sure it ends up in the right place. So A, we want to make sure you get enough water. B, we want to make sure it gets into the right place. And that's why the next subject we're going to talk about is toxicity. Because the solution to pollution is dilution. Another solution to it is getting those toxins out of your body. Okay?
That was very good.
Thank you.
I thought it was Chris Canty who said the solution to pollution. It was Blandon and Hoppy.
Yeah. The next area is in regards to toxicity. Toxicity is a big issue because when it comes to toxicity, it's a major factor as to the buildup of extracellular fluid. Basically speaking, Another way of being able to get those toxins, or to be able to lower that interstitial fluid or extracellular fluid, is by opening up within that interstitial area or extracellular fluid area what's known as regional lymphatic drainage sites. Now, why aren't these regional lymphatic drainage sites letting out this fluid in the first place? Well, that's because they've been told to stay shut, because messages are being conducted back and forth between white blood cells in the liver, known as Kupffer cells, and these regional lymphatic drainage sites. The white blood cells in the liver are inflamed, sending out a message to these regional lymphatic drainage sites saying, hey, listen, hold on to those toxins, because we don't have the enzymatic wherewithal and the nutritional stores to be able to run the enzymes to be able to process the toxins that you're holding within that area. So those regional lymphatic drainage sites are sort of like they're sort of like holes at the bottom of a bathtub, or a drain at the bottom of a bathtub. They're sort of clogged up right now because the liver can't deal with detoxifying any of the toxicity found within that area. Remember, if the actual regional lymphatic drainage sites were to release those toxins, they would end up in the bloodstream and then would have to be handled and detoxified by the liver before they could be excreted out through both stool and urine and sweat. So we want to be able to we want to be able to make sure that the liver itself is calmed down, the white blood cells are calmed down, and it has the wherewithal on a nutritional status and an enzymatic status to be able to take those toxins and detoxify them. So that's an important factor there. Also, toxicity besides this type of toxicity, which is inside your body being held in that interstitial fluid area, toxins are also held within body fat. This is a major issue out there right now, and toxicity is a major problem within public health in not only the United States but abroad as well. A recent study of adipose tissue, a 10-state study, had clearly pointed out that 100% of all individuals had at least 4 of the top known carcinogenic toxins found within their adipose tissue, and this was within all people studied in this 10-state study. There was over 1,000 people within the study that had histological assessments of adipose tissue as to toxicity level. This was done by Mount Sinai Hospital in Manhattan. The next thing is toxicity has a major role on human health. Toxicity will affect the following areas: your immune function, it'll affect your central nervous system, and it will also affect your immune function, central nervous system, and endocrine system. How does that affect aging? Well, when it comes to immune function, as you get older, people tend to have more colds and flus and things like that, so it is a sign of aging, and you don't want to have toxins that are interacting with white blood cells and other parts of your immune system to dysregulate it and make you more susceptible to colds and flus. That's a sign of aging. The second thing is when it comes to the central nervous system, things like Alzheimer's and Parkinsonian diseases have all been shown in preliminary studies to be related to toxicity levels, and these are signs of aging as well, or diseases of aging, including simple forgetfulness as well. And on an endocrinological basis, or the endocrine system, as it relates to hormones and thyroid, a lowered thyroid or putting on more body fat, a lower basal metabolic rate is related to aging, and in addition to that, dysregulated hormones, which have to do with the endocrine system, are related to aging. So all of these different factors are related to many of these toxins that are found in the environment. When it comes to toxicity, there are certain ways in which a toxin comes into your system and leaves your system. If a toxin that comes into your system is water soluble, usually it's easy to be able to urinate it out and does not get stored too heavily. If it is fat soluble, it tends to get stored in body fat and also some in interstitial fluid as well. And that storage is the major problem in regards to chronic disorders as it relates to aging. And basically speaking, for us to be able to get those toxins out, we need to be able to say to the liver, listen, we can take those toxins and turn them from fat soluble to water soluble, utilizing 2 phases of detoxification. The first phase is known as cytochrome P450, and for lay terms, that set of enzymes used to be able to take the actual toxin itself, add